Welcome back, everyone, to Word Wondering. And before we begin, Genesis chapter 2, verse 1, I'd like to thank all of you guys who have supported the channel and encourage you guys each and every day to try to read the Word of our Father. Now, before we begin, there's a few things that I would like to say, right? First, I would like to say the reason why I want to read the Bible. I want to know who God is. I want to also know what our sins. Now, there's a lot of people in the world. If you can agree with me, and you don't have to agree with me. This channel is for us to come together to get clarity on what our Father is trying to tell us. So the second thing that I wanted to know is, what is a sin? People, creation, God's creation, man, woman, beings that are created by God, don't tell you what a sin is. God tells you what a sin is. So I want to find out what God considers to be sins, what are his commandments, the response of the people, how God responds to people, and there's a few other things that I like to go into, like how to be able to discern and everything like that. So there's many reasons, but those just a few that I've given you guys of the reason why I read the Bible. Please leave in the comments the reason why you guys read the Bible. And if you remember what I said in part one of this Bible study, if you can believe the very first chapter and verse in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, you won't be able to believe everything else that's going on within the Bible. So that's a question that you must answer too long. But today we'll be starting chapter 1. Sit back, relax, and here we go. Oh yeah, I forgot to say something. Yeah, when I went back to chapter 1 of Genesis, I realized that there are like two people that is talking. Now, I don't know if this person is a prophet. You're gonna see a lot of little colorings in this. This is for me to be able to separate the people and who God is talking to and so forth. That you may find a systematic way of doing it yourself, but that's the reason why you're seeing this. All right. And again, I'm going to be doing an autoplay. I have an app that actually do autoplay. It actually helps me to determine who is speaking at that time. This is one reason why I use this, is because you can have multiple people speaking at one time, and for me that's hard to determine who is now speaking. So this app that I'm using, it allows you to understand who's speaking at certain times. So yeah, again, sit back, relax, and let's do this. Stopping multiple times to let you guys know what I'm thinking. Again, this channel is called Word Wondering. Please leave your thoughts, comments, and what you're thinking. Things that I may have noticed, that I may have not noticed, that you have noticed, in the comments below. I am planning on doing this live, so we can actually all be together, talk within the live chat, and but only if the Lord wills. I'm still waiting on some equipment and stuff like that, so I'll be able to do that. All right, let's start, y'all.
Genesis chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Now, before we continue on, everybody, this is what I was thinking about, right? If you read the scriptures in the Bible, it will usually give you an answer to the questions that we have. Another thing that I realized is that the Bible is like a puzzle that you have to put things together in order to get the meaning of what is being trying to say, what is being said. I also realized that things are concurrently consistent, but the time frames in which these things happen is difficult to determine for me for some reason. I mean, you don't know how many years this has went by. You know what I mean? But this is telling us what's happening. So the way I look at it is like we have a lot of questions that we want to know, but we do have a Bible that's telling us what we need to know. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's the way I feel about it. All right, let's continue, y'all. And then it said, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it.
These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground.
Now, in chapter 5, right, you say, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no man to till the ground, right? This is where I'm a little bit confused, because in chapter 1 it tells us on the sixth day that the Lord created the heavens and the earth, right? That he created man. So I'm looking at this like, and there was no man to till the ground. You see, do you guys understand what I'm saying about, like, it's consecutive, but the time frames can be confusing? Because I mean, we in chapter 1 where it say God created man and a woman, but now we in chapter 2 and he says that God created all these things. He has not caused it to rain on the earth, right? In chapter 2 verse 5, and there was no man to till the ground. And that's the reason why, you got to really think about what's being said here. Let us continue.
But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And the Lord God...
Okay, wait a minute. Wait 1 second. It said, verse 7 tells us, right? Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils, right? And the breath of life. And breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living soul, right? When I look at this verse, right, I'm looking at this, what we can all see when we look at other human beings, the outer shell of that individual. But I believe the inner part of the individual is a living soul, right? You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Let us continue.
The garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pison. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying,
Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
And the Lord God said,
It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him.
And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Now wait a minute. You have a lot of people that's calling things different names, right? People just making up names. You know what I'm saying? They saying this. They saying this. This is what the name is. This is what the name is. So I'm looking at this here, and it say Adam, what he called them, you know, of every beast of the field. I mean, every living creature that there was, to summarize it, that he called them by a name that he decided to do. But what really interests me is in chapter 2, verse 19, it said, Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air. He brought them unto Adam. And then I'm looking at, you know, if you may have that question, why did he bring them unto Adam? Because the Lord wanted to see. You know, it say to see what he will call them. The Lord wanted to see the Lord wanted to see what the first man, Adam, was going to call these creatures, right? Let us continue. These are things that I'm noticing and my thought process. Again, I like to encourage each and every last one of you who come to the channel. Please put things in there that you have noticed that I may not have noticed, and what your thoughts may be about what we are reading. Let us continue.
And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
All right, we got that one, right? He closed the flesh thereof, right? You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like when you go to surgery, and they put you under this anesthesia, where you falling asleep and they just doing whatever they could do whatever they want to you, not knowing what is being done. So yeah, that's what that reminds me of when he said that you know, he put him to sleep. Let me see the air, then unto Adam to see what he would call them. But there was not a helpmate for Adam. And then it said, and the Lord calls a deep sleep. That seemed like that almost seemed like what people are doing today when they when you have surgery. For you guys who have had surgery, I have not had surgery before. I do not wish to, but yeah, that's what that seemed like. Let us continue.
And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib, which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said,
This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
That's amazing to me, right? This is my third time going through the scriptures, right? From the beginning. And then I look at that verse that was ahead of that when God brought all the animals unto Adam to see what he would call them. He also, the woman that was taken out of his flesh, he also called her out her name, right? He gave a name unto her. And it also tells you why he gave her a name. If we go back into chapter 20, verse 22, and he said, and Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. I mean, I believe God has given this man already wisdom, right? Where did he get it from? Right? Let us continue.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife.
That's funny, right? You might see that I had that in yellow, right? Because this is instructions. Might even be a commandment, right? I mean, for now, we could say that one commandment has been told, right? Because the simple fact of the matter is that God commanded man not to eat from that tree that has the knowledge of good and evil. That was a commandment. And here in chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, it tells us something else, right? Is this a commandment? Or is it just something, you know, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this a commandment, or is this just something that should be taken? I mean, commandments should be taken to heart, right? But, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife. Again, we have three people that's speaking in this chapter. We have the author. It never tells us who the author is, right? Then we have God himself speaking. We have Adam that's speaking. And from the author's point of view, therefore shall a man. Is that from him? Again, I don't think this author will be able to know these things unless God has revealed these things to us, like the Holy Bible is revealed unto all of us who can read it or even listen to it as we're doing now. This stuff has been revealed unto us, right? So yeah, it say therefore shall a man leave. I mean, that look like that might be instructions on the way in which you should live, in the way in which you should live your life. But a lot of me, I always, I didn't want to stay with my mom or my dad. I always wanted to have my own. But anyway, let us continue.
They shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
Okay, this is my last thought, right? It says, in chapter 2, verse 24, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh, right? They no longer two, they one flesh. Then it says in Genesis chapter 2, verse 25, and they were both naked, the man and his wife. I mean, God put them together, right? So They husband and wife. It's a lot different now the way we get married, but I believe the same princip- principles apply. The difference is that God ain't, you know, this was in ancient times. God ain't putting us to sleep and taking a bone from our bones and making a woman right beside us, right? So when we wake up, we got a woman beside us. There's tons of women in the world, tons of men in the world. Pick and choose. And another thing that caught my eye, he said, and they were both naked. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. You married out there? If you're a married man or a married woman out there, you shouldn't be ashamed of your husband or your wife nudity. Get that out of your concept. It should be admired and enjoyed. And with that said, everybody, I'm gonna leave it right there, and we will be coming back later in Genesis chapter 3. And until next time, peace.